my TikTok. I think I'm here to just share a little bit about my personal story, which could be actually anybody's story here. When I started Pampered Chef, the kids were 3.5, 2, and 1. Do the math. We couldn't fit three car seats in the back seat of the car we had been driving. So we ended up buying a used station wagon, and the $400 car payment broke the bank. And I started looking to possibly go back to work in my previous career, which was a social worker, but I figured out daycare times 3. I would have been working to pay the sitter and not really contributing or benefiting our financial. There we go. Stay away from the podium. So anyway, that was my situation when I was invited to the Pampered Chef show that I went to. And I almost didn't attend because I told my friend that I didn't have any money to spend. And she says, you know, that's okay, just come to eat and drink. Nobody's gonna know. And when you have 3 children under 4 and you get invited for a night out, what do? You go. Yeah, so that was me. I was the bad guest at the show in the corner of the room, trying not to want anything because I knew I couldn't afford to get it. And I fell in love with everything that I saw. And what caught my ear, though, was when Nancy Jo said that the average consultant was making $15 an hour. Now, back then, the per hour going rate was not even $4 an hour, and I had just interviewed for a job that was going to pay me $15 an hour. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's vegetable peelers and making stones, not working with crazy people. And I thought to myself, I'm sorry, I'm still working with crazy people. Yeah. I do take that back. But I thought to myself, I would end up getting the things that I wanted to get and couldn't afford. I'd have a little bit of experience, and who knows, if it did work out, I wouldn't have to go back to work. So I was told that the secret to doing the business was simply to do 2 shows a week. And that's what I did. And that very first month, I more than made the money that we needed to pay the car payment. And from then on, it's given us things like trips, money for sports things for our kids, college money for kids, weddings, and all kinds of other things. And actually, at this point in time, you know, I know that had I even stayed in my career and been the CEO or the administrator of an agency, it would not meet the income that I make now. But I think it's more important for you to hear from my pampered spouse, who is so excited to be here. Jeff, what would you say about being a pampered chef? Do I even want to ask you? Seriously, I have no idea what this even would say.
How can you say you don't have any idea? You gave me the cards to my See, 17 years ago they asked me to do this too. Haven't been invited back since. So she said, these are the cards. Read them. Do not get off of the script. So many great things I would like to say about our lives with Pampered. What can I say? Think of my poor 7th graders having to put up with it. So many memories. Probably number 1 really is all the trips. They're fabulous. They treat you well. They treat you fantastic. They're beautiful things, though I haven't been allowed to be on one in the last 5 years. That's another story. We'll talk about it in a minute. But they're fabulous. They're fantastic. And I love them, especially the first one we went on. We were married in 1979. If many of you remember the blizzard of '79. We got married that day. We got married January 13th. We remarried a Friday on the 13th.
And that is why it's
And it haunted us forever. And so we got snowed out of our honeymoon. Never really had a honeymoon. The first Pampered Chef trip that she earned was in January. It was a cruise to the Bahamas. It was our honeymoon, and it was fantastic, fabulous, and great. And that's the favorite trip I'll always remember. Keep earning them, hon. I'm gonna get back. So many benefits. She started with, like she mentioned, working on car payments, and then it was a driveway. And just kept escalating from there. And I think that's one of the things that impressed me about her and the business was that she always seemed to set a new goal. She had a goal, and it was financial, or it was getting that next person to come into the business or something. But she always had that goal. And the first one was just that simple car payment, and then we made a new driveway, and it was the driveway. It just kept escalating from there until it got to big things like college and stuff like that. So she kept those going. There were a lot of hectic nights where we'd pass in the driveway. I'd be flying in the driveway because I was late. She'd be backing out of the driveway yelling at me, "Where are you at?" But we got there. Our kids lived for those few moments in the house by themselves. So we were okay. And in the end, it allowed me to live a dream, which I'm for every day thankful for. I'm not sure my 7th graders are, but I am. We wrote the last tuition payment for our youngest son, and I hated my job. Did not like what I was doing at all. Turned to Marie and said, "I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do because I really don't like what I'm doing." And she said, "Go back to school." I said, "I can't do that. I'm 55 years old. That's like ridiculous to think about." And actually, I wasn't quite that old. I was 54. So I thought about it. We looked at the finances, and I said, "I can pull this off." So I went back, got my teaching degree, and loving every day, living the dream, teaching 7th grade science to a bunch of nice young children. Yeah, I have to work tomorrow, so we gotta get out of here. Besides, Jane said something about her enhancing this tonight, so don't worry, I'm not gonna forget that.
I don't know.
Delete that.
Tracy's gonna be in Disneyland, so.
Oh well. So I already talked about how it's helped her grow, and she set goals, and she's taken off. The great thing about Pampered Chef is I've seen that out of my wife, but I've also seen that out of a lot of other ladies and gentlemen that have come into our home for meetings and other things. I've seen ladies who came in, walked into our house like this, you know, and 3-4 months later, they're just proud. They're proud of who they are. They're proud of what they're doing. You can tell they've got goals. You can tell they're confident in what they're doing. And they've overcome a lot of problems in their lives. And I think that's the fantastic thing that I've seen across Pampered Chef, influencing a lot of people. Originally, it was all kinds of women, and I'm glad to see gentlemen coming into play. A lot like John Johnson and a lot of the other guys that we see out here. I think it's a business that is good for everybody. So I love that about Pampered Chef. I think that it's not only helped our family, but it also indirectly has helped us help others. We now are fortunate enough that we can make donations. We can do things for other people. Whether it's the homeless shelter pads through our church, whether it's the scouting program. I used to work in scout camps, and we've been able to work with the scout camp I was at, setting up a museum in the camp, and educational scholarships, some collegiate ministries that we're involved with and have helped fund, and lots of other things. And then I'm always able to help occasionally some other teachers out that are struggling with some money at the school where I work, to help them do something in their classroom or something like that. So it's really great now to be able to turn some of that back to people and take the blessings that we've received from Pampered Chef and to turn those around. I think that's really where I'm at right now with the privilege and honor and what I look at my wife every morning, and well, I look at her very kindly, mostly because she gets up every morning and makes my breakfast. So I'm usually saying thank you for that, but just that she's out working every day and doing the right things. So as I end, I'm going to thank my wife, first of all, because I wasn't really confident in this business, but she proved me wrong. Thank you. I want to thank the young lady over here for asking my wife to be in the business, Nancy Joe. Thank you. Because if you don't ask, you're never going to get the question answered. You got to ask. You never know. So, and then last, she's not here, but I actually had this written down even before the movie. Thank Doris, because Doris always set the priorities correctly. She always stated them to everybody. She always had her priorities set right, and Marie followed those along, and I always appreciate that. Thank you. Thank Doris again.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
Thank Doris. Thank you, Doris, for everything you've done, for stating the goals and maintaining the goals of the company and keeping those priorities straight. Families, families, families.
Thank you.